Good afternoon, Kindlech. Here to guide one and record today's Chumash Rashi for Rashi Kedoshim, the fifth portion. As always, learning the bind ourselves of God, get pleasure, get haste and redemption. Hoping to cut down the chit chat a little bit. We go straight to the joke. There's two boys, God forbid, in the hospital. One says to the other, "What are you here for?" He says, "Oh, he's got to get his tonsils out. He's very scared." The other boy says, "Don't worry. It's chick chack, no muss, no fuss. You're home." It's okay. "What are you here for?" He says, "Oh, I'm glad you asked." He's also very scared. He's here to have a bris. Kid goes, "Oh, bris." Wow. He says, "I had that done when I was 8 days old. It hurt like crazy. I didn't walk for a year after." Alright, so we're starting in chapter 20, verse 1, chapter Chaf, verse Aleph. And Parshas Kedoshim is a very central portion in Judaism. It's a very short portion, but it teaches us how to be holy because Hashem's holy. What does holy mean generally? It means abstain from certain things. Holy is to be removed. We've talked about many things we need to be removed from. Let's see what we're going to learn about today. So verse Aleph. Vaydaber Hashem Moshe le'emor. Hashem speaks to Moses saying, telling him to say over. Verse base. Va'el b'nei Yisrael tomer. Say to the children of say to the Jews, Ish mibeit Yisrael, every man from amongst the Yidden, umin a ger of Yisrael, or if they're a ger, ashiyitim azar lamolech, who God forbid gives their kid to moilech, I added God forbid, mus yumas, he'll surely be killed. Am arch yigmuhu, the people will stone him, forever with stones. Alright, so there's some redundant language here, and let's understand what's going on. But the simple meaning is this molech stuff's really bad. Don't get involved with it. So Rashi says, "V'el b'nei Yisrael tomar onshin al azara." What are you going to tell him? So we did speak about molech earlier, and the Yidden were warned not to do it. Here we're going to discuss more, God forbid, what would happen if, God forbid, they do. So Rashi says it's the punishments that could, God forbid, come. And God doesn't really punish. He just cleans us up so we'll be closer to Him. God just wants us really close at all times. It's never really a punishment. God's all love. Just wants to get us as close as possible. The difficult part is when we don't understand at all why He's doing it. And it just looks hard. What's the lesson? What am I supposed to learn here? How's it going to be? The difficult. Alright, so these are coming to bring, we were warned earlier, and this is coming to bring the cleansings afterwards. Mus yumas, but based in where, says this guy has to, God forbid, be put to death. What does that mean? You see him on the street, you jump on him? No, this isn't based in. Then call it the based in. If the based in isn't so strong, so then the people will help. Can't miss a chance to say, the Rebbe Melech Mashiach says many times we could have eternal life in these bodies. We just have to makabel b'nei Mashiach Sekeno, which means memorize Mishnayos and say in the streets and learning Yannikul Mashiach. Amma Aretz, Rashi continues, next Rashi. Im shebegino nivresa Aretz. I'm sorry, Am shebeginu nivresa Aretz, the people for whom the earth was created. And it's often said, Bereshis is base Reshis, two heads, the first word of the whole Torah. Who was the whole, everything created for? The two heads, who the Yidden and the Torah. Davar Achar, another interpretation. Shesidim, the Yerush Arts, the people who are in the future are going to inherit the Holy Land of Israel. Oidei mitzvahs alu, through doing these particular mitzvahs. Alright, very nice. So good stuff. Either Hashem made the whole world for us, or it's talking about how we're going to get the land. Verse Gimel, V'ani yetin es pnei ishahu, and Hashem says, I'll turn my attention to that guy. V'yikresi yoseh, I'll cut him off, Mekerav amo, from amongst my people, Ki mezero nazal l'moilech, because he gave his kid over to Moilech, Laman tameis migdashe, for the sake of him purifying my, I'm going to say sanctuary. I think Rashi's going to explain different. Let's see how they touch it over here. Alright, fine. To defile my holy, Ohala Hashem Kadshi. And to profane my holy name. Alright, so if somebody, God forbid, gives their kid over to Moilech, they're going to be cut off. Hashem's going to clear his desk and pay straight attention to this guy, so don't play around. Generally, we're saying how terrible idol worship is in any way. This Molech type is being singled out. It'd be interesting to discuss why. Well, if you remember right, I think there was some bonfires. The kid would, God forbid, walk through the bonfire. They would have some type of galach lead him through. Anyway, this is considered being singled out as particularly evil. I'm sure there's some interesting interpretations on that. It'd be great to know. But what are we learning? We're learning simple Chumash here with a little extra flavor. God willing, God's help, because God's good. that if a person will, God forbid, to do this, give their kid over to the Moilech, that he's going to be cut off and Hashem's going to straight away pay attention to this guy and take care of business. This is really not good. Rashi, Etzes and Panai, Panai Shali, Pona, I sort of already said it. Hashem's going to clear his desk and deal with this guy. Be'ish, Velo Bet Sibor, it says it with a guy, but not with the community. Shane called Sibor Nichrasin, because Hashem never cuts off. Keep in mind, this guy was being punished with being cut off, which is very bad, very not so good. His soul could be cut off. He could, God forbid, lose his kids. He could be brought premature death, God forbid. But this, Rashi is telling you that can only happen to a person. Hashem never cuts off with the whole community. So it's just this particular guy. So I don't know what that would mean if, God forbid, all the Yidden turned to Moilech. But Hashem wouldn't just, God forbid, wipe everybody out or cut us all off. He would, I don't know what he would do. But anyway, Rashi is telling you this applies to just a single person. But again, we could have eternal life, and let's just focus on Hashem's goodness and do what we actually truly love to do. Be with God, here in these bodies, in a good way. Ki Mezero Nasan Molech, because he gave his kid to Molech, God forbid, Lafish and Emma Marver Bano Bitu Eish, Ben Bano Ben Bitu Manayan. It looks like it just says clearly that he gave his kid. How do you know even the grandkid? Talmud Lomar, because the Torah says he's Mizaro Nasan Lamoila, because here it says just his seed to include grandchildren, God forbid. Mizaro Pasam Manayan. How do you know if it's even of unfit lineage? It would also be included. Talmud Lomar Besito Mizaro Lamolach. I understand what we're saying, I understand what this means, and I think it's clear, but I hope it's clear, that since first earlier we specified, God forbid, son or daughter. Here it's specifying seed, and we said it first to include grandkids. And how do we know, God forbid, and how do we know it can come to include even illegitimate lineage? Because the next verse repeats also the giving of seed. So why does it say giving of seed twice? Once for, God forbid, grandkids, and once for even people with not the greatest lineage. One Tamis Mikdashai, so as to defile my holy, and Chayeno adds my holy nation. As Knesset Israel, Rashi tells you it's talking about the Yidden, Shi Mikdashesli, who are married to me. Veloshim Lo Yechalas Mikdashai, similar to what we're going to have in chapter 21-23. So Rashi wants you to know here, Mikdashai just means my holy. Rashi's letting you know that it means Hashem's holy people, the Jews. You're all holy, you're all godly. You have whatever you need to do your mission. Sometimes you just have to pull it up and go forward. How Rashi knows that's interesting, but hey, that's a question for another time. If you go through a whole learning session, you didn't generate any questions, you didn't learn. You know? First, you have to be the tape recorder and know what it says and be clear and be able to repeat it to another to the point where they can have it clear and repeat it to another and they can have it clear. But then, you should cogitate on it a bit. And if you're not generating any questions, you're not really trying. You're not really, the idea is to make Torah great and glorious. You have to put some effort and energy into it. If you're just taking it as a monkey face value, you're not really doing anything. Anyone could read that. So you have to bring yourself to the Torah and show me what you see in it and show me what you might wonder about. Verse Dalet, and if the people, so to speak, pretend not to see, from this guy who gave over of his kids to Molech, God forbid, the Vilti, and they don't put him to death. Just God forbid any Jew, God forbid they put him to death. I can't say that. The law is they have to put him to death, so I can't say God forbid. But I can repeat again, the Rebbe Melech Mashiach says we could have eternal life in these bodies. We just have to kabel and learn Mishnah, say it in the streets, memorize it, and learn about Yanikul and Mashiach, which we're mentioning here. The Rebbe says many times to publicize. So I'm worried I confuse people. The verse literally says if the people, I'm just going to say what it means, if they pretend that they don't really see what's going on, they let this guy live. And that's all we've said. We haven't said the consequence. Let's see if Rashi speaks. If they pretend not to see it, if Rashi says if they pretend not to see one thing, in the end they're going to pretend not to see many things. If the smaller Sanhedrin pretends not to see, in the end the greater Sanhedrin will also pretend not to see. I think these are my words, but I understand it's discussing a philosophy or a mentality. This is purely for me. I don't have any source to back this up except for what this Rashi says. But what I understood this to mean was if a person gets in a mode of, turning the other cheek can be a good thing, but, hiding from the truth, then he's going to develop more and more lies to keep that, to stay hidden from the truth. If a person's, how do you say that? Once a person's not engaged in reality, if a person's committed to reality, they're going to be real. And obviously Hashem, even Hashem himself, the Almighty, bent the truth for Shalom Bayis from time to time. He bends the truth for Shalom Bayis. And I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if a person starts to, God forbid, forsake truth, there's no limit to that. There's no idea of like, hey, I'm just one step away from the truth, but I'm so close, it's not so bad. Truth is truth, and not truth is not truth. It's one of the nice black and white things here. We're saying if he, God forbid, takes that first step away from truth, the most likely momentum is going to carry him further and further from the truth, because once the truth isn't truth, then who cares? And then who cares if it's close or not? It's just another thing you made up. So once your relationship to the entity ceases to be truth, who cares if you're close or far? It's not true anyway. Anyway, that's how I understood that. Didn't mean it to be sharp. That's how it came out to me. Just offering an interpretation. Yagdul Torah Vardir. Feel free to argue. Love to hear some comments, commentary, whatever it is. So, verse Hey, let's see what would happen if, God forbid, the people close a blind eye. Hashem says, I'll pay attention to him. Mishpakto, and also his family. Even the guy's family, Hashem's going to give him a look. And I'll cut him off, not the family. As kol hazonim acharav, and all those who stray after him. There's no sachrei moilech, that they strayed after this moilech, a caravamim, from amongst the people. Rashi says, what did the family have to, what they do wrong? Amar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says, v'chein mishpachim mechet, what did the family do? The verse comes to teach you, she'ein l'cha mishpach sheyesh bo mokeh she'ein kulam mokstein. The verse has said that there's no family that does that if they have a, God forbid, a corrupt tax collector in them, that the whole family isn't corrupt tax collectors. What does that mean? Isn't there just one guy collecting the taxes? Because they all cover for him. So even though there's only one guy, God forbid, being the corrupt tax collector, something Judaism really frowns on. There used to be people that would get this position of being a tax collector and extort exorbitant funds from the Yidden, God forbid, and Stama, what I understand is the family would benefit from these funds, so they'd cover for him if he wasn't behaving the best. So that's why the family also is getting some attention here. Hikrati also, I'll cut him off. Lama nemar lefisha nemar mishpakto. Well, I already knew he was getting cut off, so why is it saying it again? Because you might have thought the whole family was getting cut off. God forbid. No, he's the only one that gets cut off. Eli kol mishpaka beikaris tamad lomer oiso beikaris lo kol mishpaka beikaris ela b'nisurim. And the family's only going to get suffering. He's the one who gets cut off. The family stays close to God, but through a manner of suffering. God forbid the Jews should suffer. God forbid the Jews should get in trouble. They should just do the right thing, love truth, love God, and let's get out of here, do the right thing. There's no Zachar Melech that they corruptly followed after him. The Rabo Shar Avodas Alilim, to include other Avodah Zarah, She'avadakaf, that served in this way, so even if it's not its typical manner of service. There's a lot to say about that. Let me see if I can bring that out. Alright, 1 second please. So it says in the verse already, I would like to highlight the redundant language for you. So I'm assuming, which is dangerous, that since we've already talked about Molech and not to be involved in this stuff, and Hashem says he's going to cut off him and anybody else who follows after him to corruptly follow after Molech. I don't know exactly where, but it's almost certain to me there's some redundancy here. I don't know if we're comparing against the previous verse or against the earlier phrase in this verse, but Rashi's suggesting that there's a limud here, there's a riboy, there's something you can learn out. The Torah doesn't have extra words, and if there are words that appear extra, if there are words that appear extra, God forbid, because there are no extra words, but then it's clearly there to teach you something. It must be there are no extra words. So if it appears extra, it's coming to teach you something else. So Rashi's saying it's coming to include other forms of idol worship, God forbid, if they're worshipped in this way, even if it's not its typical manner. Because if I remember right, if it comes to, God forbid, idol worship, there's kind of two categories of activities. There's certain activities that we just agree, this is idol worship, I don't care what the setup for the particular idol is. If a person does these things, that's really not good. That's considered idol worship, I think. Pouring wine is one, and maybe bowing, I don't remember. I don't care if the idol was a stone, a rock, a piece of gold, whatever it was, God forbid. There's certain things that are just left at these activities, behaviors, are idol worship, regardless of the form, shape, or not shape of the idol. Then there's certain activities that it's only really heavy duty if that's the way this particular idol is worshipped. And I think that, God forbid, passing a child through fire between the two bonfires is not one of the universally accepted for. So the Chumash is coming to tell you that now it is being included. That this is now, even if it's not the exact Molech setup, even if this idol isn't worshipped in that way, it's also a problem. So straying after Molech can mean, it could be, God forbid, worshipping Molech. Maybe the word is stray after. It's clicking a little better, and that makes sense. What does it mean to stray after Molech? Because we've already talked at length about what it means to, God forbid, worship Molech and do the wrong things. What do it mean stray after? It means they kind of went that way. They did this style of worship, even if it wasn't the exact same carbon copy. They might try to think, hey, we could do this, but it's not exact, so we'll be a little more off the hook. And Chumash is going to say, no, this is totally out. This style is out. I don't care if it's with Molech, God forbid, or another idol, God first. Love. Any soul that tilts, I'm going to say strays after the avos and Yedonim, those were some of the guys we learned about yesterday with the omens and actually it might have been the armpit talker and the see if that was, yeah, the Yedoni guy puts the bone in his mouth and makes a bone talk. This is the armpit talker. Alright, so this is the armpit and bone talker dudes. So anybody who, God forbid, strays after them, I'm adding a lot of these. All these God forbids are me adding. So any soul that strays after the avos Yedonim, there's no sachram to become defiled after them. And Satias Pnei Nefesh, Hashem says, I'll clear my desk and get right to this person too. And it'll also be cut off. Rashi says nothing. Alright, so this is also super bad. Don't get involved with these bone talkers and armpit talkers. One guy talked to his armpit and the other guy had a bone in his mouth, but somehow he could get the talk. I don't remember exactly how he did it. But it's a bone of an animal with this name in his mouth, and somehow the bone would talk. And don't get involved with the bone talkers and the armpit talkers. It's not so good. Rashi, I'm sorry, last verse 9. He's kadishtem, you'll sanctify yourselves, Rashi Kedoshim, and you'll be holy, ki ani Hashem Elokechem, because I am Hashem your God. Rashi says, he's kadishtem, you'll be holy, zu precious of lim. What did we learn about today? Was all these funky idol worship omen stuff thingies, God forbid. So, what does it mean to be holy in terms of this particular verse? It means stay away from any and all idol worship, worship the one true God, stay with God, and everyone should have a great day. Check now.